Okay, I'm going to give you different options for this. Option 1, you pause the video, you give the whole thing a go yourself first. Redeem yourself. Option 2, I'm going to give you a smaller challenge. Option 3, you don't do anything, but you just simply watch me do this. My advice is either you do the smaller challenge or you do the whole thing yourself first. If you decide to do the whole thing yourself first, on the timestamp below, you can jump to the solution, the final solution for this. Otherwise, I'm going to show you bit by bit how I would go about this. So it's kindly giving us the employee names and the employee hours. So I'm simply just going to copy this. You wouldn't be able to do this in your exam by copying because you know what I'm saying. And I'm going to basically open up Replit, boom. I'm not sure if it'll accept those speech marks. I might have to change them. Yeah, I thought so. It doesn't like those italic sort of speech marks. So let's just do that, do that, do that, do that, do that. I could have done Control H, I think. I'll try that next time. And let's take the employee hours. Actually, there's no speech marks for this, so it's easier. Joe has worked these hours. Felix has worked these hours. Ooh. Liz has worked these hours. I am actually missing one for Dean, so let's just do Dean's. There you go. And Dean has worked those hours. Okay. All of this is pretty complicated in terms of it's got lots of writing. But I'm going to pick out the key things. We've got a variable called company size that holds the number of employees. So I'm going to do that. Company size equals 4 because we've got 4 employees: Joe, Felix, Liz, Dean. If it said in the question you've got 50 employees, you will change that to 50. Whatever it tells you. Okay. So I'm going to do this tiny bit by tiny bit. The first thing we want to do is calculate the total hours worked by each employee. Okay. So I'm going to loop for I in range, and I'm going to loop company size. That is why they've given us that. It's going to loop 4 times. And what I'm going to do is I'm then going to display the employee name. So print employee names, and then I'm going to do I. So if I run the code now, Joe, Felix, Liz, and Dean. For each person, we're then going to calculate how many hours they've worked. So I'm going to make a new variable called total hours, set to 0. So every time we go onto a new person, it resets to 0 again for every time it loops. And then I'm going to do total hours equals, and I'm simply going to add up the total hours that each person has worked. And there's different ways I can do that. The easiest way for me to do this is to do another loop. And this time I'm going to loop the hours. So for X in range 4, we've got 4 different numbers per person. So these are the hours. These are the hours. So it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. It's all the same. Nice and easy. And I'm going to do total hours equals total hours plus employee hours. And we're going to do IX. What does that mean? Well, I starts on 0, which will be Joe, and it'll be this. So that's what the I is. So for Joe, it'll be like that. The X will simply take the 3, add it onto total hours. It'll take the 2, because X will go up by 1, because it does the inner loop. Takes a 2, add it to total hours. It'll take the 10, add it to total hours. It'll then take the 20 and put it onto total hours. Finally, I'm going to display print the total hours for, let's make this really professional, employee names I, which would be Joe, is, and then total hours. I'm going to put this back to I again, because once we've done this, I will go up by 1. It'll go on to Felix. It'll say print Felix. Total hours be 0 again. It'll do a calculation, but this time for row 1, which is this row. And X, it'll do 52, then it'll loop again. So remember, just to get this into your brains, this will run 4 times. Once it's finished 4 times, it'll do this. Then it will go back to the outer loop again to update, to go to the next person. So if we were to run this now, that's what we've got. So if you add up Liz's, it's 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that's 8. Dean also has 8. That is cool. So we've done so far, calculate the total hours for each employee. Now we want to calculate the average hours worked by each employee across all projects, rounded to the nearest whole number. Forget the round for a second. Let's just calculate the average really easy. I'm going to do a variable called average. I'm going to make it equals to the total hours divided by 4. They've done 4 projects, 4 hours. Each hour's worth of project. So Joe did a project in 3 hours, 2 hours, 10 hours, and 20 hours. Look how quick Liz was to do that project. Print the average hours were average for this person. So now, if I was to run this, there you go. It's giving us the total and the average. So notice this is still within this. We've done it outside of this because this loop is just for adding up the hours for each person. This is the display. This is the average. We've done the average after we've done all the adding up, which is the role of this, and we're displaying. If I wanted to round this, I would just simply have to do this. Round, put into brackets, that. So now look at what happens if I hit run. It's been rounded. Instead of 8.75, it's now 9, for example. Let's go back. We now need to give them a category of either being full-time, part-time, or casual. And we get that information based upon this and the average. So if the average hours are equal to or greater than 40, they're full-time. If it's 20 to 40, it's part-time. 20 to 39, and less than 20 is casual. So we're using average to work out and display what they are. If the average is greater than 39, we are saying print full-time. If the average is, I don't know what this one is, it is 20 to 40, so 20 to 39. So it is greater than or equal to 20 and less than 40. Print part-time. Oops, I forgot to do average again, and average is less than 40. For anything else, print casual. So if we were to run this now, Joe, his average was 9, so casual. Average is casual, average is casual. So let's make Joe have a really big average. His average hours were 313 full-time. So we can see it works. Joe is a full-time worker for us. Finally, we want to calculate, store, and output the number of employees in each category. So how many people are full-time, how many people are part-time, how many people are casual. So it's basically saying Joe's our only full-time person, so it should say full-time 1. And then it'll say casual 3. It'll say part-time 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a counter for each one. FT equals 0, full-time. Part-time, 0. C for casual, 0. For full-time, we're going to do full-time equals full-time plus 1. Part-time equals part-time plus 1. Casual equals casual plus 1. Then at the end of our loop, once everything is finished outside the loop, we're just going to display the final results. So print the amount of workers who are full-time are FT. Print the amount of workers who are part-time are part-time. Print the amount of workers who are casual are casual. And there we go. We are done. That was your result. That should have been your end result.